Good morning, you guys. It is Thursday, December 14th. Lee Marie, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I hit the gym already this morning. I'm
Preach.
going to meditate after this. It looks the sun is out at least, even though it's a little cold, but I love seeing
Yeah.
that sun. Sometimes it's awful gray for a lot of days in a row.
I got up and worked out. I took my kids to school. Today was one of my kids' snack days, so I took snacks to school. Today was also hat day. Wear your Christmas festive hat to school. I have one child that's like all about everything at school, like, hat day, dress up day. And then I have Brutus. Brutus
Yeah.
is like, fuck the system. I'm not
Yeah.
doing anything. I'm not complying. Don't make me, can't make me. I'm not doing it. So let me know in the comment section. Do you guys have kids where they're just opposite? Jared and I were taking them to school yesterday, and Jared just goes, like, we ask them every morning, do you want to go in the pickup line, like at the drop off line, or do you want to park and have us walk in? I don't even know why we ask them this, because every fucking day, one says one thing and the other says they are the opposite on everything. And
That's
it's
funny.
so annoying. So now we have to be like, okay, it's Wednesday, Augie gets to pick. Okay, it's Thursday, Brutus gets to pick, because they can't do it. They can't do it. So anyways, that's what we did today. But we're on today because we love to talk about our TikToks and or articles that we get or emails that we get. And we like to share the things that we learn from things like that. I know here in a little bit on another episode, I'm going to talk about a heated TikTok that I pushed out. But today you're going to talk about an email that you got, an article that
Yeah,
you read.
I like this. So I'm on Jay Shetty's email list, and
who is Jay Shetty? Like, you say that name all the time and I just don't know.
Jay Shetty is an author,
Okay.
a podcaster, thought leader, public speaker, coach.
Gotcha.
And I love him. And he's all about like meditation and mindfulness and things like that. I think he was actually a monk before he became a coach.
You know what? He might have been the one that I just said did the thing that what we were just talking about before. I think it was his face. Is he like a darker skin?
Yeah, like dark hair.
Yep, yeah. Yep. I think that, it was the same.
So I love him. So I'm on his email list, and he had sent one this morning. So I was like, I love this. I want to share this. So I'm going to read it. It says, the truth is that most of us don't know how to love ourselves enough. We get so wrapped up in self-criticism and insecurity that we forget to nurture one of our greatest superpowers. Self-love not only makes everything in your life easier, but it allows you to see yourself clearly for who you really are, a brilliant person deserving of a joyful life. If self-love seems difficult or even impossible for you at the moment, I suggest starting with something smaller but equally as important: self-kindness. Kindness is a form of love. And if you get in the habit of being kind to yourself on a daily basis, your life will slowly begin to change for the better. So he says, today, I hope you choose to think kind thoughts within your mind, speak kind words to both yourself and others, and be as nice to yourself as possible, especially when you don't feel like it. I love that. Really, it's that's also really true. Good. Yeah. And it's something that you really have to be like intentional about. It does not come naturally, I think, for most of us. You have to stop and go, okay, I'm being hard on myself right now. I need to take it easy. Practicing being your own cheerleader, practicing speaking to yourself the way you would someone that you love. Because we're just wretched to ourselves the way we speak to ourselves. We would never talk to other people the way we talk to ourselves most times, especially someone we care about. And so it's just being mindful that that's going on and finding ways to be kinder to yourself, more forgiving, more accepting, and being so careful of your inner dialogue. Like the words that you're saying to yourself in your mind or even out loud, it matters. And it has a direct impact with how you feel, and then the choices you're making, and then the results you're seeing in your life.
Right. I was just telling you before we got on that I saw one of his TikToks this morning, and he was telling somebody when he was a child that he would walk around and tell his mom, like, Mom, I'm depressed. Mom, I'm sad. And she would say, no, you're not. Knock it off. Quit saying that to yourself. And he didn't understand it for the longest time. And then in his, professional life of learning all of this type of stuff, he said, how you speak to yourself is how you will feel. So if you're talking negatively and saying, I'm sad, I'm depressed, and I'm not saying that's not true, that you could be, but how you talk to yourself has a greater impact than really even how you're feeling, because you're telling yourself how you're feeling. And I always, again, take everything that I hear and relate it to divorce and especially high conflict. And I was that person that stayed in that victim mindset because of the way I was talking to myself. Like, I'm the one that picked him. I'm the one that divorced him. I'm the one that had 2 kids with him. I'm the one that wanted the divorce. Like, I stayed in that. I'm dealing with high conflict. I'm dealing with somebody that's treating me like shit. Like, I would just talk all the time about how bad my life was in the midst of this divorce and then co-parenting with him. And I mean, it's all I talked about. People would call and it would be like, I'm like, yeah, well, he's doing this and I have to deal with this and the kids and it was always this negative things coming out of my mouth. And I stayed negative. I stayed completely in that realm of just negativity. I was in that bubble that I couldn't get out of it because it's all I was talking about. Then you fast forward to like getting a little bit older now. And I'm better with how I speak about myself as far as dealing with conflict, way better than what I was. But now it's the body stuff. Now it's like, I'm looking at my body as I'm losing weight and I'm like, girl, why did you let yourself get this big? And I start talking about the past, which I can't fucking change. I caught myself looking in the mirror. I have mirrors where I work out. And I caught myself looking at my fupa today, and it reminded me of another TikTok I saw last night. I don't know if you follow her. She's got curly hair. She has 5 kids. She just had a baby named Violet. I think it's Violet. And she like does these raps and like she just kind of like sings and like she like smacks her hand.
Too, yeah.
And she was putting on jeans to go on a date night with her husband for the first time. And she was like, before I put these things on, if it does not fit, it's just means it's for another day. It's not for today, and the way she was talking about her body and forgiving herself and thanking it for having this 5th baby and being the protective womb. And I was like, so this morning when I was looking at my fupa, as it was like hanging in my pants, these were not good pants I had on this morning. They did not suck me in. I was like, but you know what? I had 2 babies at 40 and 41. Like, you know what? I'm 44. It's taken a while to bounce back, but if I didn't show up today, it would still not bounce back faster. So I just kept looking at it this morning, like, just embrace it. It is what it is. You had a baby at 41 and it's going to be a fupa for a while. It's going to be hanging there and hanging out with us for a while. So embrace it. So I started to talk nice about myself this morning, which is not normal.
You have to. And catching yourself in those moments when you don't, it's like acknowledging it, being mindful that you're doing it to begin with, and then like making that switch. And one of the lessons in my confidence course is about self-acceptance and how you can shift that conversation to from instead of thinking, oh, look at this fupa, or look at my arms jiggling, or I can't fit into these pants.
Right.
Like, try to look at your body as something who enables you to do things. So I'm grateful that my body was able to give me 2 babies. Right. I'm grateful that I'm able to walk on this treadmill for, a mile, 2 miles in the morning. I'm grateful that I get to travel. I'm grateful that I have, that my arms can cook food for me. And so like, what abilities does your body have? What things does your body enable you to do that you can be grateful for? And that can kind of shift your perspective away from, well, it looks like this and there's a stretch mark here and there's a roll here. And
I'm trying to remember, like this morning I was telling myself, but look at how far you've come. Look at how big that stomach was. Look how big, because it used to be a stomach and a fupa. Now it's just a fupa. Like, my stomach is way down, and it's like, give yourself the credit that you've lost the 20 some pounds already, almost 30. It's like, be proud of that. And it's because I'm showing up every day down here. I'm looking at my treadmill and my weight area and my mirrors, and then it's the eating right and, quitting alcohol and picking better choices. And I'm so glad that I started those habits and the self-talk now, and not wait till January 1 like everybody else does, like, oh, fuck it, it's the end of the year, Christmas time, food, whatever. It's like, no, go ahead and start practicing that self-love now and get that discipline of loving yourself every morning enough to get out of bed. I mean, it's kind of easy for me. I'm not going to lie, because you're on the East Coast, I'm in Central Time. So my whole room like glows with the text message of you saying like, I'm already at the gym, and I'm like, fuck. And then my girlfriend, Katie, she's been getting up at 4:20, 4:25. Because her husband goes to work so early. So they're working out before he goes to work at 5. That bitch had her workout and her run done, and I'm not even out of bed yet. So like, she's sending a selfie of, all sweaty, and she's done at like 5 o'clock. And I'm like just dragging out of bed at like 6. So I think I have good people around me too that like make it. Factors. Yeah. I mean, it's like, okay, if Katie can get up at 4, why the hell can I cannot work out at 6? Like, come on, you know? So I think finding your people that also talk positive about themselves. You know, Katie was talking about how she's going to really focus on not looking at the scale and just show up for herself every day. And that's going to be her focus. So I think just having those people to be mindful of whenever you're talking bad, like in that group chat, me, Katie, and Caitlin start talking shit about ourselves. Like, oh, I fucked up and I had sweets. And it's like, we're always like, but tomorrow's a new day. Tomorrow, you're not going to have the sweets. Tomorrow, you're not going to drink 5 pops. Like, we're always trying to stop saying that, stop bitching about it. You know, you can't change it. Let's move on. Let's go on to a new day. And I didn't always used to be in those places. And I didn't have those type of people in my life. I think when I was going through my divorce, I had.
And that matters so much.
Gosh, the friend circle matters. Like, my mom asked me one time, she said, look at the 5 people you're hanging out with. And I was like,
yeah, you're the average of the people you spend with.
And it was like drunky, drunker, and drunkest, and drama, and trashy, and whorish were all my top 6 friends. It was just like, it wasn't a good crowd. You know, they weren't motherly. They didn't give a fuck about their jobs. And it was like, I was the high man on the totem pole. I was the one that had the most shit together, and I didn't have my shit together. So that just tells you the caliber that I was hanging out with.
Yeah.
So
same. I was hanging out with people who were just drinking all the time, or people who just wanted to gossip all the time, or people who just didn't ever want to really better themselves. They were just kind of complacent. And that wasn't me. Like, I'm always trying to level up somehow, some way.
Yeah. And I think I had one lady that I was around recently, and I couldn't figure out, like, I liked her. I wanted to be kind of cordial with her, but there was something about her that I couldn't put my finger on that always made me uncomfortable around her. And then my mom met her once, and my mom was like, God, she's fucking negative. And then I stopped and thought, I was like, that's what it is. Like, she's not being mean to me, but she was one of those people that
Debbie Downer.
She couldn't take a compliment. Like, if you praised her, like, hey, that's a nice sweatshirt, she'd be like, oh God, this thing, like, I got it from the thrift store like 5 years ago. Okay, could it still not be a nice sweatshirt even though it's 5 years old? You know, like, she always just spun everything with a negative connotation to it. So it wasn't like, again, she wasn't mean. She was just, she couldn't accept happiness. She couldn't give a compliment or take a compliment. Like, everything had to be like the doubt in every comment. And it was just like, I couldn't figure it out till my mom was like, that bitch is negative. And I was like, that's what it is. And I think now that I have all this personal development in me, it was repelling me against her. Like, I didn't want to, it's like, whoa, that reminded me of my old self. I was like, whoa, like, I don't want to be like that. I don't know if you did this with David, but when Jared and I first started dating, he would give me a compliment. He'd be like, you're pretty. And I'd be like, I would never say thank you. Like,
I would, yeah. But it took me a while to get to that. But by the time I met him, I was like, yeah, I am.
Bitch, I'm saying that now for sure. But when we first started dating, he would say that stuff, and I would downplay it. I would be like, oh, whatever, you know, what? I would always make this like Josie sound, like, you know, like, whatever. I didn't know how to take it.
Yeah.
And then he told me one time in the midst of a fight, he said, because I was like, you never say anything nice. He's like, why the fuck would I? He's like, every time I say something nice, you like turn it down, say a negative comment about it, say that it's not a big deal. He's like, why am I going to keep saying something to you if you're not going to accept it? And I was like, wow.
It's actually Elise. I know probably a lot of you follow Elise on TikTok.
Yeah.
She does the I receive that.
Yes.
Like, you don't even have to say thank you. You don't even have to agree. You could just be like, I receive that.
Yeah. So as you're going into this 2024, ask yourself, who are your 5 people that you're hanging out with? Are you the highest person? Is everybody looking up at you? I just told Leah this yesterday, it was yesterday. I said, I want to be intimidated by my crowd. Yes. I want to be hanging out with people.
Like, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Wrong room. Yeah. Like, I want to hang out with people that I'm like almost nervous to be around because they have stuff that I don't have, or they're achieving things I'm not achieving yet, or they're like, they have knowledge that I want to gain from them. Like, I want to be around people that I can learn from and not be the teacher anymore. And I feel like sometimes I find myself in pockets of friendships or circles of acquaintances or workers or whoever, where I'm the highest person. Like, I'm the teacher, and I don't always want to be the teacher.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be intimidated by a group of women or men and be like, damn, I'm going I got to man up in
be
this
like
group,
inspired and motivated and like have something to work towards and to build towards. And yeah, for sure. And that's why I was telling you I called her, or she called me last night. I was thrifting. No, I called you.
Yeah, you were thrifting. You were flipping through that rack. I could hear those fucking hangers on that silver rack, like shoot, shoot, shoot.
She's like, are you in like Target?
I said, are you at TJ Maxx? Because ain't nobody flipping through item by item at any other store other than TJ Maxx.
Yeah. It's like, you gotta go quick. You gotta, it's a scavenger hunt really at a thrift store. It's like, you're on a mission. So, but I was saying, like, I wish you lived by me, because I was in this networking group for entrepreneurial women, like in my area. And then I am in this like mastermind, and it's just something that I meet with them like once a month, but it's perfect. It's like every month I get that kind of hit of, oh yeah, she's doing this, and she already wrote a book, and she's doing, and I'm like, fuck, okay, I gotta like stay on my game. And so it is nice to have people in your life that help keep that fire lit under you sometimes, or just to, you want to see people achieving around you so that you can go, okay, all right, I got to keep going. I got to work on this a little more.
Right. So I think we're in a season of everybody should be serving other people, we're around the holidays and stuff, but I think you got to be conscious of asking yourself, like, do you need more out of life? Is your friend circle served its purpose and now you need to rise above and move on? Because I mean, the circle that I had all those years ago when I was going through my divorce, they were great people. But I honestly, I've looked back recently and found all those people, they're in the same spot.
Same place. Yeah.
They haven't grown. They're in the same jobs.
Which is fine.
Fine for them.
But is that aligned with who you are or who you want to be? That's the question that you really have to ask yourself.
Right.
And same with family, honestly. I mean, even if you're related, sometimes you have to spend less time with people because they're just dragging you down and they're just not matching your energy or where you want to be mentally, spiritually, anything.
Right. So I had a hairdresser one time say to me, hairdressers are like your therapist sometimes, but she was like, how different is your time hop on your Facebook account from last year to this year? And I was like, what do you mean? And I knew what she meant. And she's like, think of all the posts that pop up and remind you of last year, the pictures, everything. Is your time hop going to look any different this year than it did last year? And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I'm still wearing some of the same clothes I wore 5 years ago. It was like, it is time for a new just adventure, whether it's putting myself outside of my comfort zone or a new friend circle or a new business opportunity, whatever it is, like, challenge yourself to make your time hop look different in 2024. And it starts right now with planning. I mean, it starts a lot right now with what are your goals? How are you going to achieve those goals? Like, if I want to find this new circle, I got to figure out, where am I going to go find it? I can't just keep saying, oh, I want new friends. Oh, I want new experiences. I want to be the low man on the totem pole. Like, I got to go start searching and seeking to find that.
Take action. And so much can change in a year. So much. I feel like every year I look back and I'm like, holy shit, I accomplished a lot this year. Because you forget when you're in it. When you're in it, it doesn't feel like a lot's changed. But then when you go back and see, like, whether it's a journal entry or an old Facebook photo or whatever, even on TikTok now, they have those on this day, last year they showed me this. It's just like, damn, I have made a lot of progress and I forget sometimes. And so it's good to just kind of stop and acknowledge that.
Right. So you guys, if you found this helpful, share it with a friend, let us know a comment of what you thought. What are your goals for 2024? Do you need to be aspiring to do something new, something different? Please let us know. All right.